Welcome back to the ESPN Esports studio. Phil Murphy joining you, and we have an idea. What if Nintendo took a page from Capcom's book to set up the Smash Ultimate Esports scene? Good? Bad? Indifferent? Jacob Wolf, why don't you help us out here? Let's talk Capcom Cup briefly, which just concluded its 2018 season. Walk us through how that Pro Tour works.
So the Pro Tour works, you have a series of various events that some have ranking points and some have a designation where you automatically qualify if you win this major event. So you have things like CEO, Combo Breaker, Evo, Final Round, all of these different various tournaments throughout the year, and they culminate into what is the Capcom Cup, which was this past weekend in Las Vegas. If you look at that, it's been successful the last couple of years. It's definitely had some hiccups, giving sort of a hands-off license to some of these organizers, some who are not nearly as experienced as people who organize much larger professional esports tournaments. It's not always gone right. If I'm Nintendo, you sort of already have the same thing. Even some of those events overlap, like Evo and CEO, which are very large events on both calendars, Street Fighter and Smash. But, there's really a Smash scene that's sort of culminated itself. There are people that have tried to put together circuits before, like 2GG and others. And so if I'm Nintendo, I do take some notes from that. I think Capcom has really built a nice fluid system, and they've reworked it each time it needs updates to sort of string together these events.
If there were a true Smash Pro Tour like that CPT has, one, would it be good? And two, how receptive do you think the community would be to that?
I think, one, to answer your first question, I do think it would be good. I think Nintendo would have to be very hands-on. They'd have to make sure that organizers set up. Right now, for people who are sort of unfamiliar how a lot of these tournaments work, there's a third-party company called Gaming Generations that literally ships out things this tall, just massive crates across the country of all these different consoles and games, right? If Nintendo comes in, and Gaming Generations guys do a great job, but Nintendo has to make sure that every system is proper and tested and everything. And if they don't do that, then they need to pay Gaming Generations a nice stipend and help them out with those systems. To answer your second question, for so long the community has wanted something, right? Super Smash Bros. Melee is one of the longest living and active and most exciting esports communities that there is. The game has been out since 2001, and year after year it is getting 100,000 plus viewers at its large events. It's super engaging. The players are still very intrigued and interested in it, and just when you think it's getting a little stale, there's new players that pop up that have learned how to play on the internet from using NetPlay and Dolphin Emulator. And they figured this out and they showed up, and so at this point I just feel like the community wants something, period. All of these other developers, Riot Games, Blizzard Entertainment, Capcom, Valve, who also, like Nintendo, is very hands-off, have done more than Nintendo has done, period. So I think the community, both the Melee community and the Smash Ultimate community, just want to see something.
Well, Smash Ultimate just crowned its first champion at Don't Park on the Grass with MVD taking home first place. What are the pros saying? The pros saying about Smash Ultimate?
So a lot of people have been talking about there's a little bit more input lag in this game than Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. It's definitely more than Brawl and definitely more than Melee. I feel like that has definitely been an adjustment that people have to make. There's also a ton more characters. Every single character that's ever been in a Super Smash Bros. Game is in this game, plus characters from other franchises, new characters coming into the fold. So it's a lot to learn. It's a lot to digest. The majority of the pros that I've seen have been very positive. They've had critiques. Nintendo is actually listening to these critiques, which is good. We saw a patch I believe earlier this week that addressed some of the online lag issues that were happening, some of the bugs that were happening on connectivity online when people were playing against one another and trying to train from afar and get better with one another. So that's good. It's good to see Nintendo within the first couple of weeks listening. I think for the game itself, a lot of people are very happy with it. Not just because some of their characters are back. MVD is a good example of this, with Snake coming back and he wins a tournament and plays well. But the game itself is just very well done. I think it's one of the best Super Smash Bros. Games they've ever made. They've certainly put in the legwork on here. It's not Super Smash Bros. For Wii U 2.0 on a new system. It is certainly something very new and unique. Presents a very cool opportunity. I think a lot of the pros and all the feedback I've heard seems mostly positive.
I'm a Kirby guy. How about you?
I'm a Pikachu guy, and I have been since Brawl, so it's like I've been able to progress through 3 different iterations of the game where he's been relatively the same. He's gotten some changes, but I'm pretty happy about it.
And it was Pikachu against Snake in the finals of Don't Park in the Grass, right?
That's true, yeah. Esam and I have talked a lot about the character and sort of how it changes, and we were talking a little bit about strategy and how this works a couple weeks ago when the game first came out, so it was exciting. I've covered him before. I've written a profile on him before, and I've spent some time with him at events, and it was exciting to get to see both of these guys play. They're teammates, they're training partners, they live together. Overall, I think that those 2 players are going to be some of the best players in the game, just like they were in previous iterations of Smash. But there will be some people that were at that Sky Williams Invitational this past weekend that will also be showing up in February at Genesis, which is the first major event. And I think that will be sort of where everybody's eyeballs are. We're all just waiting for February.
Jacob Wolf, a Pikachu guy. All the right answers as usual. Jacob, thank you so much for joining us. And for more ESPN Esports coverage, keep it locked right here on ESPN.com/esports.